Hello and welcome to the Temple of Tomes with your host, Indie Comics Jones. Today is July 12th, 2021. This is episode 361. Today we're looking at Edgar Rice Burroughs Universe, and this particular chapter is The Land That Time Forgot. The name of the arc is Fearless. This is 3 of 3. Comes in at a whopping $3.99, and it's put out by American Mythology Productions. So on the cover here, we've got a lovely, lovely cover. This was just the regular one. I do believe there was a variant on this. Not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure. So what we have here is we've got Khotan and Sita, and they are being attacked by what they call a Wiro. Well, they look like corpses, but they have wings on them, and basically they're trying to steal the beautiful women so they can mate with them to make better looking kids. The women they have at their island of Oʻu aren't that great looking, apparently. So this particular scene does not really occur in here. In fact, he doesn't go after either one of these women. He goes after Liz Tyler. And we'll talk about that in a bit too. But it's a nice cover. What's kind of fun about this is both women wear these kind of sash type outfits with skimpy bottoms, and their hair just happens to cover the breast on each one. So it's just a nice way of making you look, for sure. All right, let's get into it real quick. Now, these comics move really fast. The stories are pretty exciting. Each page has something else, something new going on. Let's first talk about who worked on this. Of course, this is part of the Edgar Rice Burroughs Universe. These aren't adaptations, but actually inclusions in the story of The Land That Time Forgot. The writer on this is Mike Wolfer. I think he does a really nice job. Always. Art assist and additional backgrounds was by Mike Wolfer. The artist on this was Fritz Casas. The colorist is BZ Studio, and the letterer is Natalie Jane. And we get a nice little blurb, kind of a little telling of what happened in the first 2 issues, just to get you back up to speed. If you're familiar with The Land That Time Forgot, I think I saw a movie, years ago about it. I haven't read the latest comic version of this the original story, but I believe there's a bunch of them on people on a ship. I believe it either crashes or gets stranded for a while. People kind of break up and go in different directions, and they find out it's a prehistoric continent that has not been discovered. So in this case, we've got Liz, who's a blonde, and Bowen Tyler, who's her husband, and they're with Khotan here. They were trying to get back to an area that was safer. They've been chased by another group. I can't remember what the names of them were. And plus, dinosaurs galore, all kinds of weird things on this continent. So these creatures here, and you can see it's drawn quite a bit different. I wish they kind of would have went with this depiction here, because it's much scarier. They talk about them being corpse-like, but this is what we get. They look more alien than corpse-like to me. They've got wings. Bowen's using his handgun. He doesn't think he can hit it, but Khotan knows she can hit it with her spear, and she does nail him. But I guess these guys are pretty strong. Liz has her own weapon on her. They really want her too, because they're intrigued by the golden hair. They don't see that on the continent, so they're thinking that'll make even more mystical kids. So a couple of, as we see here, she's just dangling, just being held by her foot. He threatens to drop her if she doesn't stop fighting, but she's able to grab onto part of his clothing to hang on. So in the meantime, they go on, they're chasing her, they can kind of see her above the treetops. And then they find him down on the ground. And they just asked him some questions. Where are they taking him? Because I guess he took a shot and he hit the wrong one. There was another one of these things came along to help. So he took a shot, hit the wrong one. They question where they taking him. They talk about taking him to the island of Oʻu, and Kotan just goes ahead and stabs him at the end anyway. Later on, this is another gang of natives that they had fought earlier. They thought they had buried them in an avalanche, but one of them has managed to survive, and these guys are big, strong guys. And he comes and kind of steps on the head of this dead, what do they call a weirdo. So they've got someone trailing them. They've got dinosaurs in front of them. The one weirdo has still got Liz by the foot. This is where she switches and grabs his clothing just in time as he lets go of her. He's getting weaker. He has been wounded. And she ends up dropping the knife, and because he says he's going to drop her down into the dinosaurs if she doesn't. So at some point she does let go, and it appears to be she's dropped in a dinosaur graveyard of some kind. Meanwhile, Kotan and Bowen keep following her through the woods, just going by where they saw her last. And the two, the Weiroo and the blonde Liz, continue to talk a little bit. She's actually runs off suddenly. She finds a weapon, from one of the bones, and she strikes the Weiroo when he's not looking. He's able to pick up a bone of his own and chasing after her as well, just taking swings at her. Suddenly, through the skeleton of the big dinosaurs, there's a big crash, and it turns out we don't know at this time because we're switching back to the other two. The other guy from the group that they thought they had stopped and killed has come and attacked Kotan. She says, keep going, look for Liz, I can take care of this guy, and is suddenly shot in the head by Bowen. So they're back on their feet now, and we find out that Sita is the one that has come out of the jungle riding this giant dinosaur. She's kind of a princess, or they consider her a goddess of the Galu tribe. And she's there to stop the Weiroo from taking Liz. So she also has a surprise for the Weiroo. It's this pink mushroom. She gives it to him, and it actually dissolves him, which is really cool. And he falls over dead. So everybody's safe now for the meanwhile. Kotan and Sheeta rebond again. They had become sisters through, I believe they did the blood ritual of slicing their hands in one of the earlier issues. And Sita says, I can't stay with you guys, I must go off. And while the other three go to find safety. Now this is many years later, 1950, we find out that Liz and Bowen Tyler are very successful. They own their own shipmaking and aeronautics company in Santa Monica, California, and they discuss kind of the rescue of the rest of the crew by Tom Billings and his crew of the Toreador. I hope I'm saying that right. Toreador, excuse me. And you can see this is one of their projects they're making. There's a lot more narrative going on here. Kind of a nice wrap up to all the Land That Time Forgot stories. I don't know if they'll make any more of that because they do have another generation coming up. So that could possibly happen sometime in the future. But yeah, this is a recommend. Just a lot of good action. The art in it is fun. The women are beautiful. The men are handsome and brave. The women rely on the men to, be there for them. But everybody's resourceful, and each page has some good action pretty much through the whole series here. So let's see what else is going on with American Mythology Productions. We do have an Edgar Rice Burroughs sketchbook. I don't know what that's about, but I'm sure it's including a lot of different artists that have worked on these publications in the past. Also, a crossover event of the century, as they say, Zorro in the Land That Time Forgot. This was a 4-issue miniseries. We already kind of went through this one in another review. Mike Wolfer is writing it, so it's probably going to be pretty good quality on it. A 4-page preview of number 4, so that was a 4-issue. And as you can see, Zorro is fighting some soldiers, Spanish soldiers. A Spanish soldier is getting attacked by a pterodactyl, and then we get some introductions to other characters here. Okay, looks like we have articulated action figures, I should say, and also the most mind-bending Zorro shocker of them all, Zorro versus El Hijo del Muerte. And I'm sorry if I murdered that. Zorro, Galleon of the Dead, starring Lady Zorro as well. So this is also by Mike Wolfer. I keep forgetting to order this. I think I can get this as a trade now. And I'm very interested because I did read a preview on it, and I thought the preview was very good, very interesting. The Moon Maid, the Three Keys arc, we did review all 3 issues of this. It's just look it up on this channel. Okay, it's a pricing guide from Overstreet. Then we get a nice variant cover of the Moon Maid, number 1. And actually, these characters, I think they're called the Vaga. They're drawn differently in the interior than this, but they are supposed to have kind of horse-like features to them. And just what else is going on with American mythology? And a new one coming out, also Edgar Rice Burroughs, Beyond the Furthest Star. And this is a series by Mike Wolfer and Alessandro Ronaldi, coming in July 2021. So that's this month. So there you go. Very exciting stuff. Can't say enough about it. Let's put this right here. Quality tested. It does get the good excavating seal of approval given out by Indie Comics Jones on this particular channel, except no substitutes. Thank you for stopping by and listening to this, watching this review. As always, please like, please subscribe, please leave comments, and we'll see you next time at the Temple of Tomes. As always, this is Indie Comics Jones bidding you adieu.